there's a grove of trees off to the right of me as I'm facing the city. And I don't know, people have asked me before what were the trees, and I don't know what kind of trees they were, but Jesus walks out of the grove of trees, and he's walking over to me. And at that point, everybody else goes away, and it's just me and him. And this was my first clue that I was coming back, but it was like over my head. Everything was over my head at this point.
Right.
So he said, I love you, and don't be afraid. You know, I'm with you. It's okay. And he walked with me over to, it looked like a wooded glen. And I could see light streaming through the tops of the trees, and there were pine cones and pine needles on the ground and little blue flowers popping up. And there was a stream, and the stream just sparkled like diamonds. And there were rocks that the water was going over the rocks. And there was a log, and I sat down on the end of the log. And there was a man sitting on the other end of the log. And I knew that man was God. Jesus walked away. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this man. And he's got a stick, and he's kind of doodling in the pine needles and the dirt, you know. And we just kind of chit-chatted for a minute, and then he said, what would you do if it was just me and you? And I was like, what? I don't understand. And he said, what would you do if it was just me and you? And I still didn't understand the question. So he said, okay, well, come with me. So we walked further into the wooded area, and there was a clearing, and he just kind of waves his hand, and I could see like the sky opened up. It was like he unzipped the sky, and I could see the vastness of the universe, you know, the spinning planets and sparkling stars and rainbow colored gases, but there was no people. There were no houses, no cars, no trees, no animals, nothing. It was just all of that. And I looked at him and I said, I don't think so. This is huge. And with all of this and just me and you would not like me after the first 10 minutes, because I would talk your ear off and you wouldn't like me anymore. And when I said that, he kind of threw his head back, and he had the bluest, sparkly blue eyes. His eyes were just magnificent. And when he laughed, his laugh was so contagious that I started laughing, and I thought, that was the dumbest thing to say to God. No, I mean, who does that? So I don't know, I was kind of embarrassed at my response, and he just laughed, and then we went back and sat down with the log. And he said it again, what would you do if it was just me and you? No parents, no husband, no children, no friends, nobody, just me and you. Well, I still didn't quite know how to answer that question, so I'm looking at this oak tree, oak tree that must have been 1,000 years old. It was huge. And I could see the detail of the bark, and I could see the nutrients coming through the roots from the ground. And I saw the nutrients going up, and they were in the leaves, and I could see the little things moving in the veins of the leaves. And what I saw was the tree pulls the nutrients out of the ground. The leaves clean the air, we breathe the air, so everything is connected and all works together. And So as I'm noticing this, all of this detail, and I don't know why I said this, because I've never read the Quran in my life, never seen it. I don't know anything about that tradition at all. But I said, God, your 100th name in the Quran is God is everywhere, God is nowhere, and God is in me. And he said, yeah, that's right. Well, come to find out that there's really only 99 names written in the Quran, but the 100th name it's too holy. It's not, you don't say it. But here I said it, and God was like, that's right. And then I said, God, you made this tree, you were in this tree, so when I see this tree, I see you. He said, yeah, that's right. And then I started, I don't know if he was putting these thoughts in my head or if I was just thinking these things, but I started thinking about my parents. And I said, God, you made my parents, you were in my parents, so when I see my parents, I see you. He said, yes, that's right. I said the same thing about my children. And then I started thinking about someone who had been very cruel to me and it hurt me very deeply. And I said, God, you made these people that are cruel to other people, but you made these people, you are in these people. So when I see these people, I see you. And he said, yeah, that's right. He said, now I have a question for you. I thought, oh, wow, okay. And he said, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And my normal answer, kind of put my hands down on my lap, and I was just like, how am I going to get through this? Because my normal answer would have been not much, just me, because I'd been told my whole adult life, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid, you can't do anything. And so I was buying into that. And that was a worldview of me. But what he was trying to get me to do is to see myself the way he did. And so I said, God, when I look in the mirror, you made me, you are in me. So when I look in the mirror, I see you. And he was so happy with that answer. He was just like, yeah, that's right. That's the right answer. And I felt like a little girl who just got an A on a test. I was like, oh, right, I got it right. But then it was more like, that infused knowledge again. And I could hear him saying, I don't make mistakes. I don't make junk. You are not a mistake. I made you for a specific purpose. And I don't see you the way the world sees you. I don't see you. You are not what the world has made you to be. And I love you. And you have a specific reason to be here or you wouldn't be here. And so that was, to me, that was huge. That was just spinning in my head. And I was trying to wrap my head around those kind of words because I wasn't used to hearing that. Well, then after that,